All right. Welcome to Wingin' It, the West Wing podcast. I'm here with my friend Sally.
Hello.
And we are watching or recapping episode 7.
Episode 7,
which is
the state dinner.
The state dinner. How'd you feel about this episode, Sally?
I really loved it. I love this episode. For as I've been about the past few, or a few of the past ones, this one more than makes up for it and really pulls the punches, and I just love this episode. That's all.
Yeah, it's a great one. I was excited to rewatch it because I remembered that this was one that I have oft rewatched myself. So something romantical must have happened, is what I said. Because
it's funny because
why else would I rewatch it?
I remember it being one of my favorites, and I remember big parts of it, which we'll get to in a minute. But as I was watching it, I did find that I didn't know other parts of the storyline, or I couldn't remember other things that had happened. So that's fun, and that goes to the rewatchability about it. That this is what I said in our very first podcast. That there's so much going on in any episode that. Maybe it's just me and my lack of memory, but I'll remember one thing but forget a whole other storyline, so that makes it fun.
Yeah, there was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on. Yes, so let's start with the TikTok then. Jump right in.
TikTok. I'm not gonna sing Kesha this week because I think that's detrimental.
It's hard to resist.
We all know that's the reference. It is. Yeah. Okay, so it's about the state dinner, and it opens on CJ in the briefing room giving a rundown of what everybody's going to be wearing that night at the state dinner.
Yeah.
Do you really think she'd have to memorize everyone's outfits?
That I'm not sure about. She might have just wanted to do that, but because CJ likes to be prepared. But I
feel like surely a note card could have sufficed.
Yeah. I think so too. And to spend time on it, couldn't they just pass that out and tell everybody this is what they're wearing here? Let's talk about real things. But that's not to say that I think it's unrealistic. I think we spend a large amount of time talking about things that are so trivial. So
it's true.
So I really did like this scene because CJ is frustrated as well. She's like, really, you don't want to ask anything else?
Yeah, she wants to talk about things that are more substantive,
right?
And it's like Elle magazine or something. Let's see. So the other things that are going on, just straight out of the gate, there's an approaching hurricane. That's 1. 2, the Teamsters are about to strike, so that's not good. And 3, there's a hostage situation in Idaho. Is that where it is?
I think so. Idaho.
Okay. And then, obviously, as this is all going on, they're preparing for a state dinner for the president of Indonesia.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot. That's a busy day in the wing.
Yeah, it is. And I like that they introduce all of that in the first few minutes. That it's not something that happens slowly. It's literally boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, you got to buckle up for this one. So the intro plays. We don't have to sing it. Do you want to sing it?
Should we sing it? I don't know.
I feel like I don't feel like I think people know the song. They don't. They don't need to hear us try to sing it in the same key, although that is somewhat.
I think it's pretty entertaining. I think we should open with it more often, but we'll let it slide this once.
Okay, maybe on Enemies we can do that the next episode. But I did see Stockard Channing. This is the first time her name appears in the special. I think she's a guest star at this point. I don't know exactly how she's billed, but Mrs. Bartlett, Mrs. B, Dr. B. This is a big moment. How many other movies have you seen Stockard Channing in?
Oh, 1.
Is it Grease?
Oh, yeah, I was about to say I'll give you one guess, but yes, I have only seen her in Grease.
Oh, I've only seen Grease once, which
really
some people find surprising. Yeah, I feel like if you grew up with it, that's one thing, but if you didn't, it doesn't have the nostalgia factor.
Maybe so, yeah.
I think the same thing with Goonies and A Christmas Story. There are certain movies that you love because there's a nostalgia to it, and I don't think it makes the same impact if you watch it as an adult for the first time.
That makes sense.
You know
it's strange though, but I do know what you're saying, but Grease came out in the 70s, right? So I didn't really, I guess I grew up with it because I watched it when I was young, which now that I've watched it being an adult, I don't know what my parents were thinking, but Well, they were
Yeah,
thinking that I
it's
didn't
pretty.
understand it, really, because I didn't understand it.
So they were right.
So they were right, yeah, because I didn't get any of the jokes. But
Well, if you want another Stockard Channing movie to watch, she's only in part of it at the beginning, but she's in the First Wives Club. Have you ever seen that
I
movie?
have not seen that.
It's got Helen Hunt, or not Helen Hunt. What am I thinking? Goldie Hawn, Bette Midler, and Diane Keaton.
Okay.
It's a wonderful film. You would probably really enjoy it, in fact.
All right, I will add it to my list.
Stockard Channing's right in the beginning. So anyway, Mrs. B, she's there. Josh and Donna have a little interlude.
Similar to the one that Donna had about something else recently, but was it the sandwiches, the budget or the surplus or whatever? I don't know, but I sort of love when Donna gets on her little kicks, when she has those little things that she's passionate about.
Yeah, so Donna's concerned because she read something about that in Indonesia. Is that, it must be, because it's for the state dinner for the president of Indonesia.
Yeah.
That apparently if you're suspected of being a sorcerer, they'll cut your hands off. So she's like really concerned and telling Josh like, hey, you need to be careful, because it's kind of like what you do when you approach a bear. They're like, here's the first thing you should do.
They'll cut your hands off? I thought they would cut your head off. Is that what you said?
Oh, I wrote hands. I thought it was hands.
No, they straight up execute you. I'm pretty positive.
Oh. That is significantly more menacing.
Yeah, significantly.
Either way, it's not a good party.
Yeah, no. Don't put me down for that.
I love that she even goes to Toby after Josh has already dismissed her.
Yeah, and I love that Toby knows what she's talking about, or Toby pretends to know what she's talking about. I like that, because it gives Donna a little substance, a little backup, I guess. Although Toby's obviously not as passionate about it.
She's quirky, but she's done her homework.
Definitely.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And, okay, so then we go to Bartlett, who's trying to make small talk with the president of Indonesia.
Yeah.
And it's, like, colder than the tip of the iceberg of Titanic.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
There's just nothing.
It's pretty awkward.
Nothing. Whew. You've got to imagine, like, and I would imagine they're on fairly good terms, in terms of, like, the White House, America, and Indonesia at this point. Right. But can you imagine very, like, enemies, or people that the president has to sit down with, or even Secretary of State has to sit down with, where it's outright someone we don't like.
Right.
I mean, they have to do this all the time. I mean, what kind of small talk do you make? Not like, how's the family,
I think it'd be very
Did you see
awkward.
last week on House of Cards?
Yeah, I think that would be very tense. There would be very tense situations there. Because here, even with someone he is supposedly on, like, okay terms with, it's still awkward. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just the person, though.
I love that. We're having salmon tonight. He's, like, trying to talk about the food. It's like trying to talk about the weather.
And the thing is that we know Bartlett's being, like, genuine, though. Like, because Bartlett gets so excited about such stupid stuff. So, like, we see Bartlett, like, genuinely trying to, like, make a connection. And other dudes, like, oh, I don't like salmon.
I just like his look, because Bartlett keeps casting it out there to see if the guy will kind of, like, take the bait and, have any sort of interaction.
Right.
And he just looks, he's like, nope, okay.
Nope.
How about this one? Nope. Oh, all right. It's funny. And then Leo talks to the Teamsters. They've got until midnight to get it together, or else they're gonna go on strike, and then that would be terrible. So he comes in and he puts the smack down. So go Leo for that. So I think, is it Josh talking to Mandy? There's a section I put down about Josh. And yes, I think she's saying, like, you don't like the fact that the president is considering my way of handling, I think it was the hostage situation in Idaho.
Yeah.
And she says, this is a PR disaster waiting to happen, and it's going to happen today. And Josh just disagrees with her on the way that it should be handled, and she wants to send in a negotiator, and I don't know what Josh wants to do. And she said, you don't like it because you don't like when the president listens to me or whatever. And he said, don't take it personally. It bugs me when he listens to anyone who isn't me. Yeah. Call me crazy, but I think there's something attractive about a guy with a bit of an ego. Am I right?
There's a guy with confidence, I would say. Yeah.
But he's got a bit of an ego.
He does, but I wouldn't think of that as a universal rule. There's something about the way that Bradley Whitford combines his ego with like his boyish charm. Because there are a few moments in this episode that I wrote down that his little like smirks and his little like just the faces he's making are so they are cocky, but they're so just still like charming, and you're just like you're being so arrogant right now, but like I can't help but like want to be around you. Like it's just very Josh. It's just a very I don't know, a very specific quality, I guess.
A certain Joshness.
Yeah.
A Joshness to him,
yeah.
as will be referenced later in the series. Okay, so then Bartlett asks about the seating arrangements for the state dinner, and he asks where Sam and CJ and Josh are sitting. He wants to sit there because that's the fun table.
I want to sit there as well.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just throw a state dinner and invite all of these people.
Okay, done.
Also, I made a note in terms of the technological... Man, I can't talk today. In terms of the technology, I was looking at Sam's laptop, and it's got an Apple on it, so it's supposed to be a Mac, but it definitely looks like a PC, and I'm just confused as to what laptop that is.
Well, I would think it's got to be a Mac then, because it's so hard to get Apple to let people use their logo that I can guarantee it's not a PC. You know what I mean? Like, Apple would pretty much make sure that that's an Apple.
I don't remember early laptops.
I don't either.
I guess it looked different, but you know what? They probably had like the newest.
Right. Yeah, they probably had like the brand new thing.
Speaking of a brand new thing.
Uh-oh.
Danny Kincannon.
Danny Kincannon.
Wants to know what CJ is wearing tonight. Ow, ow.
I just love Danny. He is just he's so like dorky but smooth at the same time. Like he's not a conventionally attractive guy, but like you sort of find yourself being like, "Oh, hey, Danny," because he's got moves. You know, he's a charmer.
Yeah, he's got swagger.
Yeah, he does for sure.
There's definitely value in that. That's a life lesson to all of our listeners.
God. So he and CJ have cute little banter in these scenes.
Yes. And other pairings, Sam and Lori are at a diner. She's trying to study, and I don't know what, he's just eating and trying to get her to blow off her class because he already knows the content. But hello, you're not the one in law school. Let the girl learn.
Right. But I did think it was interesting at one point. Lori says something about, "Are you afraid to be seen with me?" or something. And I'm like, Sam, you should be. You should be a little afraid to be seen with the call girl. Like, yeah. That's always been my problem with this storyline, which stinks because I really love their little banter and I love their, they just have good chemistry. So I really enjoy that. So I hate that she's a call girl.
Yeah, it's tough. But, you know, they're just laying the groundwork for future episodes. It's rife with opportunity for things to happen. So we'll see where it takes us. I did look up at some point in my life, which might speak more to my pathetic love life than anything, that there are certain Josh and Donna episodes, right? Mm-hmm. Where, you know, they're kind of pivotal.
Right.
And this is, again, I mean, there's so little to make mention of, but the state dinner is one of several that this blog that I read points out where Josh and Donna have a tie moment. You know, throughout the series, she ties his tie several times. This would be the first one. Oh. And I guess that's important.
I guess so. I noticed that moment. I liked that moment, but I didn't know that it was a pivotal Josh Donna moment.
I mean, there's a certain level of intimacy of tying someone's tie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Heavens to Betsy. She's warning him about the people who might cut off his hands or his head. Yeah. And Josh says, prudent or not, when that Sith comes out, is it Sith or Scythe?
I do not know.
Shoot. Okay, well, we'll say it both ways.
Scythe?
He says, prudent or not, when that Scythe comes out, I'm probably going to haul it.
Yeah. I'm with Josh on this one. How about, no, I'm not even, because I'm just not, I mean, she's giving him advice for the dinner, I guess. I don't know why she's giving him this advice, because there are Indonesian people at the dinner, I'm not sure. But I'm more in I'm just going to stay away from Indonesia then. sorry to our Indonesian listeners, but he's like, well, if they're coming after me, I'll just start running. And I'm like, I'm just going to stay away.
He's cute.
Yes.
Okay, so from there.
Well, speaking of him being cute, I think from there, it's soon after that he says, I look good tonight, don't you think? That he's impressed with himself in his tux.
Yes, he says that to Mandy.
Yeah.
Because he says, I look good, you look good too. Mm-hmm. But I look good, is what he says.
And then he and Sam have a moment of, we look good tonight.
We look good.
They're pretty funny and charming.
They're funny and correct.
Yes.
In that statement. More importantly. Okay, so then also, let's not forget. So Charlie's family, in terms of the incoming hurricane. Uh-huh. He's got family in Georgia, and he hasn't heard from them, and he doesn't know where they are. Yeah. I mean...
Cute little Charlie. And I love the moment. I mean, because we haven't really known Charlie that long. We've only known Charlie like 4 episodes or so. And and Josh doesn't even hesitate. You know, I don't know how politically correct it is, I guess, to use some strings to find out personal information. I don't really know. Maybe it's not a big deal at all. But Charlie seems very timid about asking. And Josh is like, you don't even have to finish the sentence. Like, I'll find out.
He, gets on the phone right away.
Yeah,
he's like,
I thought that was very sweet. Blah, blah, blah. I like that they are sort of immediately family.
They take care of their own.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
Mm-hmm. That's a cute moment.
And then, the state dinner, Mrs. Bartlett!
Yay!
Dr. B! She's there on the scene. And according to the article that we read this week, she, I guess, apparently, was offered the part the day before. I mean, this is how it reads in the article, which we can link to it somehow. Uh-huh. But she was offered the part the day before, and the next day she was on set.
Yeah, that's shooting how I read it scene. As well. Except that
she was in Canada, but hiking or something.
Yeah, and then turned right around and was doing this, and that was the first scene they shot, was going down the stairs. But her first actual scene is very anticlimactic. I feel like
it is.
I was a little disappointed because, when she first came on, I was like, wait a minute, what? Is this is the first time we're seeing her? But it was really sort of just like, where's the first lady? Oh, there she is. Like, it wasn't a build-up. So I was kind of bummed about that because she is one of my favorite characters. They're all my favorite characters, but...
Really?
I do, yeah, I just love her. I think she's
good,
strong and tough, and she puts the president in his place, and sometimes
she's got some good storylines.
Yeah, she does. Sometimes she's a little too sassy, but, I'm behind it. I'm for it. I like her a lot. Yeah.
There's so much strength in the show in general in terms of the characters. I was watching, there's another scene where there's Sam, Toby, and Josh, and it's just, I mean, it's a normal thing for them to all be in a scene, but it just struck me in that moment, man, there's just so much talent all in one room. Yeah. Just heavy hitters, each one of them.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. They're all, I guess I really should stop saying that somebody is my favorite character, because they all are just hard-hitting, fantastic characters, so
talented.
I digress.
Great characters and great actors to bring them to life, so there's that. So then, Brittany, aka Lori, Sam's call girlfriend, is at the state dinner with, I don't know if it was a congressman or a senator.
I think he's just like a donor. They want him for his money. He's either a fundraiser or a donor.
Leo asked the boys to kind of schmooze and glad hand this major donor to the Bartlett campaign, and his date is Lori.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, man. Whew. Yeah. That's a plot twist.
That was pretty interesting. Of course, you sort of, I guess... I don't know. You sort of figure something's going to happen.
I didn't see it coming.
You didn't see it coming?
I didn't see
it coming, right then, but I thought at some point he would run into her in a professional setting. That's all I mean by that. That, when you're first introduced to this, she sort of goes out with these high rollers, these big, important people. So at some point I figured something awkward like this was going to happen. Or you'd kind of hope. What's the point of having her character?
I know. I mean, I would go to the state dinner for free. You wouldn't have to pay me to go.
No.
I mean, I would go, and that's all that would happen, but it would be cheaper. I'm just saying. I would like to wear a dress and go to a state dinner.
Well, I think the after part is what the dude is more concerned with anyway.
The after party?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe he just didn't have time to find a date. I mean,
maybe so.
Well,
I don't know.
I guess he doesn't work at the White House. I know. I'm just being dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, then I wrote, oh gosh, this is the episode where Bartlett talks to the ship commander as the hurricane is approaching and knows he won't survive.
One thing, yeah,
Oh,
it's really,
my gosh.
that's an intense thing. But the thing I love about this whole episode is there are so many plot lines going along at the same time that all have the potential to be disastrous, and you don't know like which one are they all going to blow up? Are they all going to end badly?
Yeah.
Are they all going to wrap up nicely?
Yeah.
Like there's so much going on that you sort of it throws you off your game. You don't know what to expect as much. Anything could go anyway.
Yeah,
which I like.
It definitely keeps you on your toes, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And then transitioning to the hostage situation in Idaho.
Yeah.
They had sent in a negotiator, which is what Mandy wanted to do.
Right.
Josh finds out that the negotiator had been shot, and it's tough.
Which backpedaling a little bit, I do like Mandy's. Let's see if I ever say this again. I like Mandy's scene in the Oval Office when she is telling them to send in a negotiator, and maybe that's just because I agreed with it, but I liked her. I thought she went toe to toe with all the boys, and I thought she did it calmly, where she normally is, screaming and wanting to beat people with her shoe and whatever. I thought she did it calmly. She made good points, and I liked that the president.
And she was doing her job.
Right, yes, that was the other thing I wrote down, was like, this is exactly what Mandy's job would be. Like, for when we've talked about that in the past, that, like, she's concerned about, like, you guys need to be thinking, how's this going to look on the front page tomorrow? So I liked that whole scene a lot. It gave Mandy a little more purpose for me. Just like a little, though. Just totally a smidge. Agree. Just like a notch.
It's okay. It's okay.
Let's not get carried away.
It's okay to concede it. One thing I noticed after Josh tells Mandy the negotiator had been shot, which has nothing to do with anything, is that it looks like Josh isn't really clapping. Like, the president comes in and everybody's clapping, but it's not uncommon when they film a scene to not actually clap. So, like, big, loud, boisterous scenes where people are clapping usually is fake. And now every time you see that, you're going to look, and it's going to look fake.
I probably
will.
Yep.
Sometimes they do it. Normally they do, like, one or...
Thanks for ruining clapping for me forever.
Sorry. But you know what? Sometimes they do, like, one or two takes, like, full clapping, so that way they have the sound.
Yeah.
But then when they've got to record dialogue, they can't have everybody clapping.
Right.
So it's mostly pantomime.
Yeah. I do like in this scene that there's a split second where it looks like Josh is going to run after Mandy, that she leaves very distraught. She's like, I think I'm going to throw up. And he sort of watches her go, and the look is like, should I go after her? And he doesn't. He stays, and he claps for the president to come in. And I was like, there you go. I don't really know why, but I just really wouldn't have liked for him to go after her in that moment. And not just because I hate Mandy, but just because it didn't seem right for him to, for that to be the storyline.
Yeah. The priority is still the president.
Right.
Pretty much at all times.
Right.
So, not consoling your ex-girlfriend.
Right.
Who's having a tough day on the job.
This is the job. Like, you can't comfort her every time. I mean, this is a big and sad deal, but I just like they didn't go that route. Maybe they were never thinking of it. It was just Bradley Whitford being wonderful and compassionate as he is.
I love it.
Yeah.
Then we get to the interpretation scene in the kitchen, which has a surprising twist to it. It's funny when they realize that this is going to be an issue. Earlier on in the episode, when Donna was supposed to set up the interpreter for this guest, and then it turns out they have to do like a 3-way interpretation from Portuguese to French to I don't know, and they have to use a chef from the kitchen or a cook or something.
Yeah, which that was a little odd. That was a little, maybe I'm being totally like, not elitist, but like, I don't know what the word would be, but maybe I'm being totally crazy in this, but like, I don't know that I see somebody getting a job in the White House kitchen that doesn't speak English. Not because like, oh, we're better than everybody, but it just doesn't seem practical. That seems like a pretty basic need when you're working around people.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually more surprised that, I know they asked the question, like, what time do the UN interpreters leave or whatever, and I'm sure that the president or somebody from his office could have called in an interpreter after they had left for the day.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think?
Yeah. The whole storyline was a little far-fetched, and I was about to say this, actually, is that there's enough going on in the episode that I really didn't see the need for this storyline. The only thing that I guess it uses a device for for that Indonesian guy to tell Toby that his speech was rude and embarrassing and all of that.
Offensive.
And maybe that's the only
Mm-hmm.
way we could get that in there. But there's so much else going on that's so intense. And we only hear teeny tiny bits and pieces about this storyline until this huge conversation. Not huge, but until this
Mm-hmm.
long scene of conversation. And it's this big to do about the translating. And it's just like, it could have been better served another way, I guess. But, then again, I'm not a writer, so.
Well, you are.
Well, I'm not a West Wing
so,
writer.
So there's that.
I'm not a comparable writer.
Well, either way. But Toby did get served in a very surprising way.
Which I always
realize,
like that.
oh, this guy speaks English. It doesn't happen too often.
No, it really doesn't.
But it was very surprising. I mean, Toby is asking for a favor, a personal favor for a friend who's in jail. And this guy can help him get out. And she said, I know that you wrote that speech. It was embarrassing. It was offensive. And bad things happened. So.
Which I do. It's just very Toby to write the speech. Because there's a scene earlier in the episode where Toby is telling Sam this is what he wants to say. And Sam's sort of like, no. Or I think that's how it happens. Maybe I'm getting this mixed up. But like, Sam doesn't really want to say those things. Like, we don't want to insult. Maybe it's maybe I'm backwards on that.
Right. No, I remember.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was Sam saying that or Toby. Like, which one was saying we should do it. But I wrote down, like, of course Toby wants to tell people how to live their lives. Because he's, like, I think Sam says something about that. Like, we're not going to tell them how to run their lives or something like that. I don't know. The whole thing is just very Toby to want to put that. It goes back to his moral superiority. And I think some people lose sight of that, like in the grand scheme of Toby's storyline, that if you really pay attention to all these moments where he has those, I mean, it's just such a common theme for him to think that he knows better than literally everybody else.
Well, he wanted to make the most of an opportunity.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like,
he had a captive audience. So, I mean, he didn't want it to just be like, hey, we're here, it's a state dinner, so let's just have the platitudes and dress up and pretend like everything's fine. Like, he wanted to make the most of the opportunity. So I understand that.
I understand it to an extent, but we'll have to agree to disagree on this one, because I just, state dinner, you're supposed to be, it's just it's an honorary thing.
Oh, I'm not saying it was good or bad.
Yeah.
I always fight for the underdog. So moving on from there as we get to the end here, Danny and CJ.
Yeah.
Oh. I love that she's so resisting the whole thing.
She is.
He tells her that he likes the dress, and and then at the they have this scene and it's very business, and then at the end she has just a moment of being like a woman. She says, "You really like the dress? All right, whatever."
I think she's just hesitant because he's a reporter and like she's not totally sure of like his motive. Because she says, "Are you doing this to get a story?" Like, it's hard to be like, "Why are you really flirting with me?" So it's kind of a little window into CJ too, that she doesn't think that he would just be flirting with her just to do it. So, but
yeah, and I felt like I could relate to her in this scene. Not that people flirt with me for any underhanded reason or at all, but because she's just so often she's just in her like work mode, and it just kind of takes her. I don't know. She just felt very human in the scene.
Yeah, I think so for sure. There's also a moment around this time where Sam has another interaction with Lori, where she meets the first lady, and Sam has. There's so much of this episode that is just. I don't know if cringeworthy is the right word, but that like it's not the right word because that makes it sound not good. But there's a lot of this episode that just really stresses me out. I mean, the whole episode is very stressful. The hostage. I don't like when things can get out of control, and I guess much like President Bartlett, because he wants to fix everything. And so like hostage situations, hurricane type things where we can't have any kind of role in it, that really stresses me out. So I was stressed out the whole episode. But there were just cringeworthy times where you're just like, oh man, this is awkward. Which, like the conversation with Toby and the Indonesian guy, there's a little bit of awkward tension there. And then this moment where Sam says, "I'll give you $10,000 not to go home with him tonight." That is just like you're like, oh, that's so sweet. But then at the same time, you're like, wait, how do I feel about this? This is kind of weird.
I put the emoji of a heart breaking.
Yeah.
That just. Ugh. Poor
yeah,
Sam.
that's all you can
It's
say
a
about that.
lose-lose situation.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
It's just a bad situation, and you're just like, oh man, he's really like, and it's hard to tell. It's coming
he's in
from
the
a
deep
place
end.
of I like you so much, and I don't want you to be with. Like I'm jealous, or like I like you so much
Yes.
as a person, and I don't want you doing this type of thing.
No.
You think it's
No,
I like you, and I don't want you to be with this dude.
Yeah, because you could just look at the expression on his face.
Yeah.
It cut him to the quick. If it was just a friend, like, I think his countenance would have been different. Because she does this all the time.
Ugh.
You know, like, this was specific, and it was in his world, and it was somebody that he shook hands with, you know, so it just got too close to home.
Yeah.
But
heartbreaking.
And then at the end, Mrs. Bartlett basically explains, like, she knows her husband so well, that he went to go try to fix the Teamsters because that was the only situation that he could fix.
Yep.
So he went and, like, cracked the whip and told them to, you know, stay standing and figure this out.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Because he was so powerless everywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
I feel the same way. That's why I could never be president, because I like to be in control of everything at all times. So, yeah. I'm with him. But I also like that she says, I shouldn't have stayed away so long. And I was like, no, you shouldn't have, because we love you. Because I just love her scenes, and I love her just roping him in, and I love their dynamic.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I just like that whole thing.
It's a great scene that she has with Jeb.
Yeah.
Josiah Bartlett. And I just said that it's really well cast. She's stately and she's strong. She's a good counterbalance.
Is it strange that in this podcast I don't know what to call the president because I feel disrespectful calling him Jed? Like, I think I more often refer to him as the president or Mr. President or something like that.
Yeah, that's
good. But because, like, really, he's not a real president. I can call him Jed or Bartlett or something like that. But I just, every time it starts to come out of my mouth, I'm like, what? Who? What?
He'll never know. But isn't it Jeb? J-E-B?
J-E-D, yeah, Jed.
No, J-E-B, like as in boy.
Oh. I thought it was Jed.
I thought it was Jeb.
It's
Jeb as in an abbreviation for Josiah.
No, dude, it's Jed. D is in dog.
Why?
I'm pretty sure about this because, well, his middle name is Edward. Josiah Edward Bartlett, so I think they call him Jed for that. But this is, hey, that's where my subtitles come in handy, because I was like...
No. You think it's Jed because it's a combination of Josiah Edward?
I think it might be.
I'm going to ask the internet, because I feel like it's Jeb.
No, it's definitely Jed. Like, that's the
oh my god,
the rule.
The whole time.
It is for sure Jed. I can't tell you why, though.
Okay, the first thing that comes up on Google when you type in Jeb Josiah is Josiah Bartlett.
Yeah, but I typed in Jeb Bartlett, and it said, did you mean Jed Bartlett?
Okay, fine.
I promise. It's because I see those subtitles all the time, and it says Jed.
It's true. Okay, that's fair enough. But I think there are some people in the world named Jeb.
But there might be.
Not President Bartlett.
We'll have to ask Aaron Sorkin when he comes on the podcast. We'll ask him.
We'll have to ask him before season 4 because apparently he never watched the end of the series.
Yeah, that's awkward. So
yeah,
we'll get to that later.
And then the very last scene. So Bartlett is on the line with this guy who's working on the naval ship that's about to be pummeled by a hurricane.
Yeah. And this whole scene,
is it heartbreaking.
It is just really, really heartbreaking. It's pretty terrible. It's hard to watch. It's hard to talk about. It's just mostly because, like, that's one of my biggest fears is drowning via shipwreck, I guess. like in Titanic, when you're stuck in a boat that's like capsized or whatever, or going under, and you're in a room and the water is rising and you just know you're gonna die. That's one of my biggest fears. So that's why.
Do you sail much?
No, and that's why.
Okay. Would you go on a cruise?
It's more of an abstract fear, I guess.
Oh, I have plenty of
Maybe
those, child. I don't
it's
like
more
outer
so
space.
of I'm afraid of being in a situation where I know the ending, where I know I'm gonna die and can't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
terrifying.
like that's more of
But
the
is it to the point where you would not go on a cruise? Or would you
no,
go?
no, no, no. It's not to that point. I just would be aware
Okay,
of what's going
sure.
on. So,
Yeah, that would. Oh,
yep,
but go watch that scene again. It's so good. And Bartlett kneels down, and
yeah.
it's a great scene. It's tough to watch, but it's a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
So,
They do a great
who is
job.
our MVP for this episode?
I'm gonna say the first lady. Well, yeah, I am because she comes in and she calms the president and she's there by his side, and I just am so excited that she's here. So I'm gonna go with the first lady.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you.
Yes.
So, Dr. Bartlett, cheers to you in this episode of the State Dinner, which is episode 7.
Yep.
Yeah,
Episode
episode
7.
7. And we'll be
Yeah.
back next time for episode 8,
Yes.
which is
Enemies.
called Enemies.
Yeah.
So, cheerio, friends.
Hooray.
Keep on winging it, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
See ya.